morning, welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to focus on a beginner's guide to heat embossing. Heat embossing is where you stamp something onto a piece of card and then you melt some powder on to create this gorgeous, slightly raised effect. So what do you need to start heat embossing? You will need an embossing buddy that will look something like that, and that helps stop the embossing powder stick where you don't want it. You need a special type of sticky ink. I like this one, the Versamark ink, and that helps the embossing powder stick to the paper. You need embossing powder. Now this comes in a variety of different colours, but I like the metallics, so here I've got a silver, I've got a gold, I've got a copper, and then I like white because it's great for dark coloured paper and it's difficult to get a really crisp white ink. And I like clear because with the clear you can go over stamping of any other different colour and you can get different colours of embossing. And then finally you will need a heat gun. This one from Stampin' Up has two settings, two heat settings, and this is what will melt the powder for you. So let's have a go and I will show you how to start heat embossing. So today I'm going to show you heat embossing white onto a dark coloured cardstock because I think it gives a really lovely effect that you can't get very easily with just inks alone. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare our card, and to do that we need our embossing buddy. We'll just need to swipe it over the card and that will stop embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it to, like any fingerprints that are on there or anything. Then we're going to bring in a Versamark pad, so that looks like this inside, and we're going to give it a gentle tap 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 with our stamp. Now this stamp's a little bit discoloured but it still works fine, and we're just going to stamp that onto a piece of cardstock. You might be able to see that it leaves like a slightly darker version of the stamp. Then we're going to pour on our embossing powder. So I'm going to use the white for this one, so I'm going to pour it all over, and then we can pour it straight back into the pot, so you hardly use any. These pots will last for ages. Right, I've just missed a little bit on the edge of the K there, so I'm going to go back in and just flick off the excess. I'm just going to add a little bit more to that S. There, that's perfect. And then we can bring in our embossing heat tool. I'm going to put it on number 2 in terms of the heat, and I'm going to wave this underneath my cardstock. And the reason I'm doing it underneath is because then it heats up the bottom first and you get a nice smooth finish. So you can see that starting to melt now. And then there we go, that's all nicely melted. You can see that my cardstock's buckled slightly. It will do that in the heat, but as soon as you stick it onto your card, it's absolutely fine. And so do you see that's now a really gorgeous embossed image, and it shows up really nicely on the dark cardstock. So I am going to now show you how to make a really simple card using this. And this is the kind of thing that I like to do when I've got a gorgeous piece of pattern paper that I just can't bear to cut up. I like to showcase it on a card. So we're going to use some of the Blackberry Bliss cardstock. So I've got a card base made out of the Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and then I've got this gorgeous piece of pattern paper from the Best Dressed paper pack. If you saw my project that I made the other day, the chest of drawers, I use this paper on that as well. It's really lovely and it has so many uses, so many different people. So now I'm just going to glue this piece of paper onto the front of my card. And then I'm going to use the second smallest of the stitched oval dies from the Stitch Shapes die set. And this is an amazing die set that I use all the time. And I'm going to use that to cut this out. So I'll do that in my big shot. And then you've got this lovely sentiment that has the nice stitch pattern around it. So I'm just going to glue this extra strip of Blackberry Bliss cardstock across my card. Now I'm just going to add some stamping dimensionals or foam pads to the back of my sentiment piece. Peel the backing off. And stick this onto the card for a really simple, really beautiful card. So that's a fab way to get into heat embossing, but there are tons of different things that you can do with it. So I'm hoping to showcase those over the coming weeks and months, because once you've got started, there are loads of different techniques that you can then use to build on this. So please click subscribe for more videos, and there will also be a link to everything that I've used for this card, including the basic heat embossing supplies, below. So if you go to my blog, which is linked in the description below, there'll be all the sizes for the tutorial, and there'll be the full shopping list there as well. Thank you for watching today. See you soon. Bye.